Hey guys, I'm Lexirosa.poet, the host of Voices. Welcome to Voices, where we give a space for the marginalized to share their art, their work, and most importantly, their voice. If you are a creative who wants to be on our show, all you have to do is shoot us an email. And if you're a business who wants to sponsor an episode, shoot us an email as well at visionsuccessmarketing@gmail.com. Today's episode is about to be bomb, so enjoy.
I model because I am that. I am still here, standing firmly, rooted, planted, holding space for truth. And I'd lie if I said I can't feel the winds blowing, howling, stealing, shaking, redefining. Yeah, they try. But I'm sorry, Father. And I'm sorry, world. And I'm sorry, me, for all of the days, times when I couldn't see and dare to be your design, my blueprint. Who can erase what always was, is, firmly rooted, planted, truth? Because I was, you were, we are created in his image. So, we are models of radiant beauty, true peace, everlasting truth, and a rare kind of grace. And we walk with wild compassion. We are models of a divine nature, of brilliance and creativity. We are, each of us, a singular imprint, a blueprint of his design. My life, his grace, a model. I am a Grace Life model.
Welcome to Voices. Today I am chatting with a lovely friend of mine, Shauni.
Glad to be here, Lex. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. So what's super exciting and interesting about you, and people may not even know this, we have a model who lives right here in town. Tell us a little bit about your career, what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a model. It's been mostly commercial stuff. So, representing products for brands, and, that's what I do. So I have a few different agents in the state of Michigan and outside of Michigan as well. And, it's just representing different companies. In Michigan, it tends to be a lot of car companies.
A lot of car stuff.
So yeah, got a lot of car stuff in my portfolio.
So something that's interesting about you is you're a third generation model.
That's correct.
Walk me through that.
Okay, so my grandmother actually used to host fashion shows in our backyard.
Ooh.
So I would watch, and I always looked up to her. She taught us how to walk. One of the things that she did, we had to walk with books on our head, and she told us to sit at the dining room table like there was a string of pearls attached to the top of your head. If you can picture kind of like a Black Mary Poppins, that was my grandmother.
So you were able to do that since you were little.
Yeah, so she taught me, and then she ended up her diabetes kind of got out of hand, so I never actually got to walk in her fashion shows. So that part was sad because I was a little bit too young to fill out some of the clothes, but also I've been tall my entire life. So I couldn't wear like the cutesy things because it wasn't cute. So yeah, that was kind of a little bit sad that I never got to be in her fashion shows, but she was so supportive all through modeling school. She gave me my loan so that I could go to modeling school, and I slowly paid her back. I don't know if I ever really did. And then at my first fashion show when I was in college in Grambling, Louisiana, GSU, she actually flew down to Louisiana to see me in a show.
So what I love about Voices is we give a space that you don't normally hear, and to share your stories, to share your voice. And so one of my questions for you is, what is it like just like representing who you are in spaces where you're meant, like how does that work? Walk me through your world, representing who you are, even in your poetry piece, who you are, but still embodying spaces that you're assigned or hired. Walk me through that.
I mean, it's definitely a journey, just being okay enough with who you are. I think for me, because I was never a good fit for what the ideal is, generally a model, when you think of a model, is like 21 years old, size 0, stick straight hair, you know what I mean? Like perfect skin, and I struggled with acne. I struggled with weight. You know what I mean? I'm
Wow.
older than a lot of the regular models. So, I mean, that part of it, curly hair. That is definitely something that took me a little while to really just say, hey, I'm wearing this, and I'm putting this in my marketing material, and this is what it is. I mean, it's gone pretty well, and I've been grateful for the clients that are looking for that now. But I know my first few years, I modeled with a wig, a straight hair wig.
Really?
Yeah, and I felt terrible every time I put it on. It's one thing to wear a wig because you like it, you know what I mean? Or it's a different look, but it's another thing to feel like I have to become a different person in order for you to see me as valuable to the marketing.
Yeah. So walk me through, I love a sense of knowing your identity, and like there was an evolution to like show up as you are in modeling in an industry that it's easy to maybe lose who you are.
Absolutely.
How have you maintained your own personal identity in the midst of a world demanding different things from you?
For me, the key to a lot of things is just gratitude. So even self-gratitude, you know, like when you rehearse what's true about you, it helps. You can take those into other spaces. And so when the world and other expected norms are telling you that this shouldn't be true about you, or you know what I'm saying? Like they're chiseling away at a shell that you've kind of worked up pretty thick. So, you know, I'm not all there. Not all there like crazy. No, I'm not all the way to the point of, you know, doing that every time gracefully, but it's something that I work on, and I realize for me, that's the key, is just rehearsing what's true.
Wow. I'm going to ask a question I didn't plan on asking, but I'm thinking about this culture like Instagram and Facebook, and I'm thinking even with people who watch Voices, they're like, I want to be like her. What can you speak to, because you said speaking over yourself who you are and having gratitude for who you are.
Yep.
So I guess, what are your thoughts? What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to fine tune their individuality?
Yeah, I mean, if you're starting from scratch, what I would do is just, if you've ever made a gratitude list of just things that you're grateful for, and you know when you're coming from a place where maybe something has just happened, it's hard to think of a few things, so you've got a short little list, and then you start putting silly things on there, like, I'm grateful that my toenails are well shaped, you know? Adding those things to the list, like try to fill up a page, even if they're crazy things. Yeah. And then if you have the support system, ask your friends to give you 5 or 10 things that they see in you, right? So you have this list that you're carrying around, and you're expanding it to silly lengths and rehearsing those truths. You'll see which the patterns are and what sticks out. And just like I said, knowing who you are kind of comes from knowing what your design, like I said in my piece.
That is so, so good. So tell me about your piece. Walk me through what made you write it. What are some things that you wanted people to hear, understand about you?
Yeah. Well, I wrote it because I thought I needed this for the show. But I mean, it definitely came from my heart, because I have always looked at modeling as more than just selling product or helping with the marketing part of it. I know that's a big part of what we do. I love, you know, my clients and my agents, that I get a chance to really represent some good brands. But at the same time, we're always representing something. We're always selling something, you know? So it's kind of like, what is it that you want to share? Yeah. And for me, you know, a lot of it's been my faith, you know, like I was telling you, Lex, earlier, like I never really fit the ideal model standards. So everything that I have has kind of been through faith and by grace. And I'm just extremely grateful for that. But I also realize that we all have a design. You know, people look and say, oh, you're a model, that's cool. But we're all have something that we can do like nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So like, I love to see that ignite in people, and just to know like, yeah, I'm a model and it's cool and it's fun, but what are you? And what's that one thing that you can do? And I think we're all models of some sort.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I'm going to switch and transition a little bit into like diversity and like multiculturalism.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that honestly hit me as I heard your piece too, is I was like, yes, you're representing your DNA, but also like your stamp on, this is who I am. I'm showing up. I'm also in these, like, I guess, talk about that. What is it like maybe not fitting the mold.
Yeah. Well, I never fit the mold, really. My high school I went to East Lansing High School. So there is some diversity there, but it also, it's a suburb and an area where there's a lot of white folks. And it's a good thing. We've got people from a lot of different places too, but I never really fit with what was expected for an East Lansing student. So I've always felt like that. And when you're in a class and you're the only minority, only Black person, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable, So I guess I've always just kind of felt like the odd one, So it's just now getting comfortable with that and realizing this is part of my packaging. This is what I have. How can I use that to inspire and to be a blessing to other people?
Well, and I think it's so important and so powerful that you get to represent a community. But I do wonder, I think we've talked about this, like the struggle of like, there's like different, just the struggle of like, there's a little bit of ambiguousness to you. And so you've talked about, I guess, in private, like how you have to show up a little differently in some places.
Oh yeah. I mean, adapting to where you are. Because again, I never really fit in. I went to Grambling, it's a Black college, but even there, I was a little bit different as well. It's like being from the suburbs, and my family's from a teeny tiny spot at the top of Michigan. So my grandfather's from a town where he is one of the only Black people up there. And so there's just certain cultural norms that my family kind of missed out to. And then traveling with the military, there's just certain things that have never really fit, but
I love that about you though. And like, it's a part of your story.
It's a part of my story. And I think that it helps me to relate to others. I kind of have a habit, even we were laughing about this the other day, a group of friends of mine, but even in church, like I would find kind of the ragtag people that didn't also fit in and create our own little ragtag group of like misfits. Yeah. I do. I always kind of find like the random person, and that's kind of always been a thing. So
what advice would you give to somebody trying to find who they are? I know we talked about affirmations, but as they're trying to explore, you were saying finding their one thing. What are some like 3 tips on what is your one on finding a one thing?
Okay, so I don't know about 3 tips.
Okay,
but my best tip, and this is something I wish I had realized early on. I have been to 4 or 5 colleges. And I used to change my major every week, pretty much. I would go down to not literally every week, but like at least once a year, like kid you not. Because I didn't know who I was and what I should be. You know what I mean? Like I knew what I should not be. Like those things are kind of obvious sometimes, but mathematician, no, I was kidding. Right, no. But I think one of the things I wish I would have done, and what I'll do for my children when I have them, is take inventory and keep track of what you like to do as a child. Like those early days before the cultural expectations of this is cool, this is not cool. Like there's certain things, like what did you always play with and what was consistent? Because some of that is, trending, it's, happening in preschool, everybody likes, maybe that's not your thing, you were just doing what everybody else is doing. But if there's been patterns, like I love to dress up. And we would put together these performances for my family, like just craziness, And so that was always a big part of it, and I always started clubs with my friends, and, a lot of it had to do with Christian themes. And, I've always been a dreamer, we would play the what if game, where we'd make up random stories, like what if this and this happened? What if, like just craziness. But I feel like that's also where my imagination and where my faith comes from, to dream something different than what other people are doing and to dare to go for it.
Yeah. Any lasting words or message, anything you'd want to say that I didn't ask you?
I knew you were going to ask that. Yet I have nothing.
Was there anything in your poetry piece we didn't mention? I'm losing this headband. It keeps falling.
I don't think so. I'm excited to see more voices on your show. I'm excited to see more diversity, because we're all a voice for something. And I love seeing people tap into their brand of that.
what are some voices? Give me 2 potential things you would want to see.
Well,
Although maybe,
about dancing.
Okay.
That would be really cool.
Something about dancing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I love to dance.
Get that.
So that would be cool. I don't know. Oh, cooking.
Cookies.
Yeah, like a chef, like one that's like doing their own thing. Yeah. She messed up by asking me.
Thank you so much for being here on Voices.
Thanks for having me. That was a whole lot of fun.
This episode of Voices has been brought to you by Mount Hope Church, Blue Owl Coffee, and Vision Success Marketing and Consulting.